barman.
Now, may I request a speaker to unmute their this thing? Susma ji, can you unmute your
Sure.
audio? Yes.
Yes, yes. Am I
Dr.
audible?
Upadhyay, as such,
Yes,
now
yes.
you can do
Yeah,
it.
yeah. You are audible. No problem.
Now I think others are muted.
Muted. Yeah, yeah. No problem.
So shall I transfer you back
No, no,
both?
not required, sir. You can continue later on. I will take.
Yeah. May I request Susma ji to go ahead, please?
Thank you. Thank you, Varmaji, and thank you, Dr. Bhardwaj. And very good evening to wonderful audience and the participants. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to add something to this forum. This is one of very closest to my heart, and I always wait for this opportunity to participate in such forums. So thank you so much. For me, gender equality, today we are talking about the gender equality. And for me, my understanding gender equality, it gives me, though the Dr. Upadhyay has already given a lot of figures, so I will not talk about much figures, but he has already taken a lot of insight about the gender equality, where we stand in terms of number. For me, gender equality gives me for me understanding of gender equality, it gives you a right environment whether you are a girl or a boy or a third gender. So it's talk about from the day one, from the child is birth, okay, from the day one, the entire life cycle approach we are taking, then only the gender equality can be improved according to my understanding. So that's the one thing I would like to talk about. Another thing, before we go ahead more into gender equality, I'd like to talk about our numbers. India population, as we mentioned, the latest 138 crores, we are at where 48.5% are female. Okay, that means 949 females to 1,000 males in the rural India against 929 females to the 1,000 males in urban India. That means our 65% of population in rural area, they stay. And we talk about the literacy education, we are somewhere at 77%. That means the remaining percentage of population, they are not exposed to the basic education, which is the biggest challenge. Maybe we are making lot of policies, procedures, the corporates are doing lot of things, but education is the one area need to focus to resolve this gender equality. If we talk about the participation in economy, I think Dr. Bhardwaj has already shown, I will not talk much about that, but workforce participation rate of female is just 25 to 5%, 25.5% against 53.2% male, uh, which is still very low, and we have to do a lot of work in that area. If we want to really progress in this area, I was talking earlier about how we can enhance the capacity of a woman or a child, uh, girl child, in a life cycle approach. So life cycle approach, for me, its understanding is a right from the birth, their birth, their right nutrition, vaccination, access to the education institutes in the safer environment, compete with the boys in competitive exams. But if we are not able to do right from the birth to the entire life cycle approach, if we are not following, and if we are giving after 18 years, the girl become, and then she has access of some of the business opportunity, or they have access of maybe working in some of the offices, I think we have lost the battle almost, because we will able to make an impact and bring more women workforce uh, at the workplace, only we approach this model of nurturing the entire life cycle of a woman. Some of the challenges I would like to talk about, though the government, NGOs, lot of things are happening at India level, and lot of companies are also refining their policies, but still we are trying to progress in this area of gender equality. If we talk about the literacy, yeah, I said 77% we have a literacy rate. But as you know, the India is very rich in culture, and we have more than 22 languages spoken. But if you bifurcate more the mother tongue level, it is more than 19,500 languages are spoken, which is huge number. Do you feel that the kind of provisions are made, the rights for the women or a gender equality, these informations are reaching to those people in these many languages? I have a big question on that area. I think that is the one area we need to look at. We are talking about the gender equality, but there are we are there are a lot of people who are not aware of the human rights, which is a very basic thing, which every woman of the India citizen should know that. Since you know that India is a developing country and we have a large segment and have ample of opportunity in a formal and informal sector, and there's improvement in a formal sector. You see, there is a initially the number was 18 to 20%, but now we have moved somewhere in 30 to 20, 32%. We have slightly progressed, but in informal sector, if you see, still the women lack for a lot of facilities to come to work, because they are more engaged or busy in their, you can say, they're taking care of their family life or a child's, because they are the primary uh, person to take care of the family. It comes to take the responsibility at home. If you talk about the today era, how many couple, a married couple, they think about and take a joint decision of their career or the sharing the responsibility? Or if looking at your society, if you everybody look at your neighbors, or the majority of women are taking care of home, and the men is taking a lead to go house and on, right? uh, I don't see there is any harm in that. But if there's a lot of women is compromising, and they are not jointly taking a decision to some of these things to move forward. Majority of female, if you see, they try to drop their career after the marriage or having the child, because the lack of infrastructure support, or maybe the first is family support. And if they want to work, they have to make a lot of stable domestic arrangements. So when it comes to domestic arrangement, you have to spend your lot of, you can say, money or half of your earning into making those arrangements, right? and and that's why the things get marginalized. Okay, the majority of women pay a price of becoming a motherhood. That is another challenge we see. When they return to the workplace after the maternity leave, they find lot of challenges in terms of their salary is compromised, their position is compromised, or maybe their increment percentage is compromised. So we see a lot of disparity for wages for a woman. Women earn, you can say, 20% lesser than compared to men. That is the one concern which we see. Maternity benefits not only, you can say, applicable, sorry, not applicable for many unorganized sector. Organized sector, still they have done a lot of progress. We are seeing their crash facility and the flexible working, and a lot of things are coming in. But on organized sector, we are still struggling in these areas. uh, Poor infrastructure, or the crush facility, or the flexibility of work is not coming. The recent study says that, talk about the 70% of the women left their workplace, and they said they would have stayed if they had been trusted with the flexibility. And that's not only the end. We are into the COVID situation, and if you see, due to COVID, there's a lot of impact is happening to the women. Because if you compare to the developed country, the Western countries, whether US or other UK, they are very mature when it comes to work from home, in terms of they are settled in this environment for a longer time, and they are equipped to being productive to work from home. But Indian, when it comes to Indian women, and they have to work from home, and government is also coming with these kind of policy that company can operate work from home. but this is bringing a lot of, you can say, challenge for Indian women when they are working remotely, because your house is not like a Western country where you have a setup, and your family member are mature enough to understand when you're working from home, it should be a totally your 8 or 9 hours is dedicated only to work. But Indian women are more dragged, or they also take a more responsibility or stretch themselves to take a more, you can say, the house job as well as taking care of their kids. And that leads to them a lot of stress or mental health or anxiety. And this, in a long run, if our society is not going to mature, if the woman is working from home to support them, I think this number, though the women will be trying to apply in a lot of jobs and gives an open opportunity for a lot of women to work from home, but if we are not mature enough to give them support working from home, I think we lose some of these numbers, what we are seeing today, at least some progress, what we have done. 5 in 10 women facing motivational challenge. That's what the recent studies say, who is working from home. The managers, if you see, not mature enough to understand some of this shift, or the biggest change happened due to COVID. They were always tuned to see their employees in office and work closely with them and monitor them. So a lot of manager not respecting the time. You can say the 67% they do, but 33% does not. So that is also another challenge. 55% of women lose the jobs. This results the women not wanting to take the risks, or speaking up for work-life balance. That is also another challenge. But some of the, I would like to say, some of the mindsets are changing, but and things are changing around us, because change is one thing is very constant in our life. We need to know, and if some of the areas like women-led development is happening, or the policy perspective you talk about, or development perspective you talk about, the government coming up with a lot of one-step center when it comes to women crisis related or women issues. Okay, I think the government has made more than 700 centers in the districts. Okay, which women can reach out for some of the crises. That is the one bigger platform where I think government has taken this step. If you talk about the police station, I think right now is more generic. I think that is also one approach can be done, and the government is discussing about that, to design the police station more into handling women centric issues more, and they're specialized into that, so that women can reach out to them, and it is led by women, so they understand, and the and that problem can be taken separately, instead of a generic police station. Another, the fast track cases which is piling, there's loads of cases piling of related to women or domestic violence or any other things in the court, in the police station. I think that can be done fast track to resolve. That builds more confidence for women who is working. They can upfront, they can voice their issues or challenges what they're facing. Digital literacy is one thing which is one mission have started, and I'm seeing quite progress in that area also. I personally have experienced and seen a lot of changes in digital literacy area. My company, the Compogom, is doing a lot of work in that area, and we have seen we are adopt, because as you know, India, a lot of people are who are staying maybe in the slum area, or they are less privileged, but still they are able to buy a good smartphone. That is the one thing we have observed, and I'm sure you must have seen your maids are coming or anybody is coming, they also have a smartphone. How we can make them more digital literate? That is the one area we thought, and we adopted few centers in Pune locality, and which is surrounded by the slum. But we have received amazing, you can say, response from the people who are staying there, and they got digital literate. And today we are able to hear they are some of the women, they have become an entrepreneur. How they have become an entrepreneur? They had a mobile phone in their house, but they are never participating and using those smartphone. But now they have started using, they are exploring YouTube, they are doing online transactional, they are going to the Facebook, they are learning a lot of things from the YouTube. They are doing the small tiffin job supplying. Now they are learning more cooking, and they are trying to earn more money from that. They were doing stitching where limited community, but now they are learning designs online and they are selling more at higher price and they are becoming entrepreneurs. So that is the, I think that has a lot of scope and that gives a lot of equality to women to come forward and being a first source of earning person in the house, right? Also we have seen some of the international level changes also happening. If you talk about Bumble, I think you must be aware, a lot of audience must be aware that Bumble is the dating app. The moment makes the first move and is a company where more than 85% of the employees and 80% of executive team are women, which is really very good number. And we should learn some of these things, how they have progressed. Pinterest is another company who have achieved a gender balance with more than 47% of employees being women, and which includes 30% of its is engineers, sorry. So that is a great thing. We always known that women is not very much techie or they are not moving into the technology or high end technology, but this showcase that is also possible. We, if you go back and see, the media is the game changer. At least if you see in our country, uh, media is very powerful. And if you talk about the Bollywood, you talk about the advertising industry, they can really make a lot of impact. And we are seeing some of the changes. If you go back in your maybe 2 decades back, if you see and see what kind of advertisement was there, it was more you see any washing you powder or anything, if you have a soap ad, it's normally woman is doing that job in the advertisement, right? She is taken as a model. But now you see the things are changing. If you see the really the Ariel washing powder, they have shown that the mother is saying, even the boy, you can wash the clothes, because it's equally your responsibility also, right? Biba, who is clothing, they also talk about some of the ad. If you have seen, the guy comes with the marriage proposal, the family comes, boy family comes for the marriage proposal, and they talk about the girl quality, and the girl father also says that we want to also come to your house and see what is the quality in your boy. Yeah, so that's how the advertisement is changing. Sabhyata, the brand about the clothing, that is talking about, the father says to boy, if you roam late night, uh, कौन तुम्हें लड़की देगा अगर कुछ तुमने गलत किया रात को तो. So that is something, the new thing is coming up. The way the dialogues was used for the girls, now it is in the society is used for boys also. That's how the upbringing has to be. Bollywood, if you see, their lot influence, our Indian society gets influenced by the Bollywood industry, and there are more learned people, but still we see it is more male dominated society. The actor is leading always a role, okay, in the films, and the actress is more known for their sexy look or great looks, and they are always side role, and they are compromised on their even the earnings, though they have a more uh, both are the some equally important, but they are paid lower, the actors are paid lower. But now you see the lot of movies also have transformed and it has changed. You see like Mary Com, Queen, or you talk about Kahani, Pink, or Magrita with the Straw. There's a lot of movies are made more women leading, yeah, which is going to make a lot of impact on the woman who is watching this. Yeah? Society is going to watch this, and that's how we are making progress in some of the areas, which is very important. If I talk about some of the areas how we can improve or come over these challenges, is it starts begin from your home. The gender equality is not something will happen at your office, that is a still later point. Yeah, you can have a good policies that will definitely help you to attract talent, but when it starts from home. When you stop differentiating between a color and a toys, household responsibility, career, only then the mindset of the society will change. So when you're talking about the fight gender stereotypes, the children learn a lot from, you can say, the immediate surrounding, whether it is a family, friends, schools, or neighbor, or a media, or a books. Yeah, so they start at early age these things about learning. It's very important that we talk about these things at the very early age. If you talk about the promote gender equality at home, it's very important they learn from their parents first, the children. It's very important the girl and a boy equally treated at home by their parents, by food, or whether it is related to sports or education or any celebrating at the birthday. Everything has to be same. That's the important it is. Uh, if you talk about the gender issues with the age appropriate lens, that is also very important. The children related to the gender bias violence they see around, but parents they normally they shield children with these kind of incident and they don't talk about that, which is very important for parents to talk about these issues with them. Yeah, which is going to educate them to maybe gender aware or gender responsive and respectful. Yeah, they will be they will be knowing from the childhood. Another thing, imbibe the gender equality and the respect as a core values. We give a lot of values at home. Yeah, this is the one thing we don't forget about that talking, irrespective of any sex, caste, social, economic status, religion, or education status. I think it's very important for values to getting start and ingrained in the young minds at the very early age, because that's how they will learn to be in the society, to treat equal gender society. That's how we're able to build that. If you talk about the right messaging of gender is not a stereotype with woman and a girl, it's beyond that. Yeah, it's important to create awareness of the society, to create a gender norms and stereotype. Gender stereotype impacts all of us, yet it's affect women, girl, the third gender more. So I think that's very important to be sensitive about these things. I want to share some of one
I
of
will, Sushma ji, I will give you another chance to speak to you on, think maybe second chance. Okay. So
Sure, sure, sure.
I think you can conclude in 1 or 2 minutes. We'll listen
Sure.
to.
So I will just conclude in 1 minute. I have taken a lot of time. So I want to share my last own experience. My first job when I joined way back 2000, sorry. And I was the first woman who posted at this site. Yeah. And which is our way. I was working in Lonavala, and from Lonavala to going to my work site, it was 30 kilometers I used to travel. And when I posted to the site, I was a lone woman among all the men, and it was a 10,000-acre land. So you can understand, and there was no way of communication if anything happens. And I was treated as an alien. I used to walk in a cafeteria or anywhere, I used to see I'm alone. Or when I travel into bus, I'm a alone woman. So how different it was at that time, but now I'm seeing a lot of changes. When I faced when I got pregnant at that time also, see, there was no crush facility. I travel, uh, I was able to go and to my home to feed my daughter and come back to workplace, so which was there's no facility. I think that also, if I would have little bit weak, I would have not managed to make my career. I think I stood firm. I took a decision to make some of this facility in my organization. After that, I fought for that. I stand for that, and that I made change a lot of people mind later who joined. I think that is the one thing I really feel great about that, sharing with you all. And everybody have, I'm sure a lot of women have go through that kind of hardship, but I think we can only make changes. So I think thank you so much for giving this opportunity to talk, Dr. Bhargav.
Thank you. Actually, I know you are in flow, but we had some limitation of time. So
I think
I
it's
have to.
thank
Maybe we'll give you again, so there's no problem. Thank you very much, Sushma ji. You have brought lot of insight. सिर्फ हंगामा खड़ा करना मेरा मकसद नहीं, मेरी कोशिश है कि ये सूरत बदलनी चाहिए, सूरत बदलनी चाहिए. So I think we should somewhere change and this you have done, and you have given your example. See, once I was with my senior colleague in Thane, and he's the IIT guy having project management and erection of factories. I had a photograph I have seen. That guy has a photograph in the lobby, and one girl on the top of 100 meters chimney, industry chimney, and the girl on the top repairing the arresting, that what is called lightning arrestor and light on that. And he was telling that nobody was, male guys were not able to climb, but that guy tied dupatta around her waist, climbed on the with harness, repaired the arrestor and came back. That is the glory we must celebrate. Another thing, KBC, if you look, illiterate lady. She is mentoring 1,000 girls, and she gave message: we must unlearn, learn and unlearn. We must unlearn the practices which we were undertaking yesterday. Now we have another stalwarts, Miss Arnavi Marjit. Actually, Wing Commander Verma has taken, now he's the host, I can't show, but she is heading HR, Global R&D and Biotech. No, sir, I will read out. She is there. She is heading the HR Global R&D and Biotech in Lupin Limited. Arnavi
I-
experience more than 2.5 decades.
Dr. Upadhyaya, just a minute. Just a minute. I will transfer the host to you so that you can comfortably show that PPT you have, I think, share. And but before that, just one point. Mr.
Yeah.
Tariq is here with us.
Mr. Tariq is from J&K. He's my friend, sir. He's deputy director in one of the administrative training institute.
That's great. Mr. Tariq, welcome to you to this seminar from.
Thank you so much, sir. Though it was late, I joined.
No problem. If you could have joined early, we could have.
It was nice to hear Sushma ji. It was informative, and I was very impressed to know about this all. Though late, but little I heard. But it was really, it's really informative. Thank you so much, Sushma ji. You have enlightened with your vast knowledge. It's great to hear you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
And
you.
Yes, sir. See, yesterday also we had on KBC, because KBC has Karambir episode. By that time, sir, you changed the host.
Yeah.
Dr. and Mrs. and Mr. Jain, those doctors, and he was blind.
Dr. Upadhyaya, now you are host.
Yeah, he has a Sarthak NGO, and now because he is suffering with the disability, so he was saying he has a training center for Divyang, and one girl who was Divyang, after a child of one girl child, she was divorced by her husband. She went to Sarthak NGO, got trained, and ITS, like Sushmaji's organization, came forward, gave job to lady. Now she is the winner of best employee 3 years, consecutive 3 years. That was the story yesterday shared by Mr. Amitabh Bachchan on KBC. So that type of example we have. Now we have Ms. Arnavi Marjit, another stalwart in this topic. She has more than 25 decades of experience in strategic HR, core senior management team of companies for last 10 plus years. She has worked with Indian, American, as well as German multinationals. She has experience, very versatile experience in automobile, Tata Motors, manufacturing, FMCG, as well as pharma and biotechnologies. She has practiced HR intervention around leadership development, diversity and inclusion, competency mapping, performance management system, talent management, and OD interventions. Management initiative in cost, culture, environment across geographies. Currently, the diversity champions of the company and also chairperson of internal committee of POS at Lupin. I am very proud to share she is the winner of National Championship for Young Managers by IMA. Certified Diversity Professional, GPHR qualified, certified in multiple tools like OPQ and MQ by SHL, competency mapping. Again, I am proud to say having diploma in training and development from ISTD. She also has PG in economics from Presidency College, Kolkata, and MBA from SP Jain, again prestigious institution from Mumbai. She is also on HR and IR core committees of CIA and MCCIA, NIPM, because I have invited there. Really, I treat Arnavi a bundle of talent with self-confessed fiction buff, movie critics, and yoga enthusiast, currently dabbling into blogging. I always look for her critique on the movie because I always follow for that purpose. I am so ladies and gentlemen, I am putting to you, calling upon Miss Arnavi Marjit to deliberate on the subject. Thank you. Arnavi ji?
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Upadhyay, and thank you, Shushma. That was more or less made my life so much easier. Most of it is already done and dusted. I just have a few points to add. And for the larger audience, me and Dr. Upadhyay go back many, many years. He was actually my guide in my ISTD paper submission. So that's how long back we go. So
Thank you. Thank you. I think we will put our audio off or our video off.
we have made him stand at,
So
and
may I
he has
request,
signed on my project there. So thank you.
may I request Arnavi madam,
Yes, please.
Video,
as your speech is getting cut, I will request you switch off your video and just talk on audio, I think. That will be, your talk will be continuous and good. Thank
No,
you.
sir. Others can switch off. Others can switch off. Those who are not speaking, they can switch off their video.
Dr. Upadhyay, for others, switching off will not work because her internet might have the problem.
Okay, okay.
So interruption is coming from individual, basically. Now, Arnavi madam, you can go ahead.
Yes, yes. I think it's stabilized now. There was a drop, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
So
yes,
am I
yes,
audible now?
yes,
Can you?
Yes, yes.
Yes, please.
Okay. So like I was mentioning, this is almost the entire piece on diversity on the various challenges that but I would just like to add on is that after,
Madam,
can you hear me?
Arnavi,
Your-
better you switch off your video. I think your
your speech is cutting off. So you
Can
can
you-
switch off your video and then audio will come nice. Please. go
Yeah.
ahead.
So is this better now?
Yeah,
Yes,
it's better.
Okay, great. So after all the challenges and the trials and tribulations that Shushma spoke of, that a girl child faces and a woman faces till the time he or she gets to come to the mainstream to join the workforce, I'm just going to touch upon a little bit on after all of that, when she joins the mainstream, how difficult it is for the woman not only to come in but stay back, to get retained in a organized environment in the corporate sector. So I'm going to mostly touch upon it, and I'll share a few live experiences too. So the first thing that any woman candidate has to deal with are all the biases and the stereotyping that comes with being a woman in any society. And when I say this, I don't only talk about India, because the kind of experiences that I've had in the other countries, you'll be really surprised to know that even in the most westernized environment too, these kind of stereotyping and biases do exist. And some of the countries, if I just name, you'll be like shocked out of your wits how advanced they may seem, but how difficult it is for a woman to stand up and speak in most even organized corporate sector. So the first misconception is that from the time that she steps into, say, an interview room, is would you be able to travel? That's the first question, I guess, all woman candidates ask, that surely you're not mobile, you can't travel. Once you join in, maybe you're not going to be working long hours because you'll take your bag and leave at 5 o'clock because you have some, caregiving expectations back at home. So we can't put you in a responsible position. Are you seeing somebody if you're not married? If you're married, then, suppose your husband moves the city, would you be resigning and going off? When do you plan to have a child? When do you plan to start a family? And once you start a family, would you be then leaving the job and moving on? Because you have to then go back home and take care of your child. So these are the typical misconceptions that people carry. When I say misconceptions, I would say that let this choice be left to that woman candidate. Let that person decide whether she wants to, go out and travel, whether she wants to stay back late and work, whether she wants to move city, or whether she wants to take a long gap after maternity. So these are the choices that is better left to the woman than to have a preconceived notion that this is exactly how she's going to behave. When you look at a male candidate, is it that they never leave a job? Is it that when a male candidate joins in, he never ever moves a city due to various reasons, due to career, due to family, due to issues at home, due to ailing parents, the various reasons that people resign and move on? But it's always a woman who has to answer these questions. And I think all the women in the panel would agree with me that somewhere or the other, each one of us have faced these kind of biases and stereotyping, be it from the time that you get hired to the time you're offered your next job, to the time you're given a challenging assignment or the next promotion. There's always a doubt lurking behind your manager, even if your manager is a woman. That's also another thing that I've experienced, that, and I'm also guilty as charged, and I won't say that I'm really holier than thou. Even at times I have this some niggling feeling in my mind when I hire a girl that I hope she's going to be sticking around for long. I hope that she doesn't have marriage plans and she doesn't plan to move on in the moment she gets married. So these are the standard stereotyping that on a day-to-day basis a woman has to fight while she tries to move on in her career. The second thing that tries to derail the retention of a woman, even a high-performing woman, is standard working relationship in an organization. Like Shushma mentioned, that she was the first woman when she joined this hospitality industry. But even if you have today a higher percentage of women population in the workforce, like Dr. Upadhyay showed, even then, in general, the percentage of women is less. Not always we have men who are very conducive or very cooperative when it comes to a woman colleague. This doesn't necessarily come from the point of view that if you have a highly qualified male colleague, the person is going to be very welcoming. It's just nothing to do with that. It's got to do with the various kinds of preconceived notions that guys brought up with, some of which Shushma touched upon. When a child is brought up, the social conditioning that a male child typically gets, that's something that naturally that child, when he grows up and becomes a man and joins the workforce, brings to the table, and then he's part of that larger society, right? So when a man comes to work, he can't be a different human being. He's carrying his preconceived societal preconditioned notions to work. And that's when he starts behaving in the same fashion that he used to behave with his sister or playmates back at home. So that's where this relationship starts becoming at times difficult. And in most companies like ours and most other companies today, there are platforms created for women employees to kind of get together, try and see how you can better enable them, to get them to speak up, get them to make sure that they are better equipped to handle the various challenges that they face on a daily basis at their workplace. So when we say that we are empowering women, we are making women more enlightened, I hope we are empowering and enlightening men too to handle those empowered women. Because it's not easy to handle those women that Dr. Upadhyay just showed. Maybe men would also need to think differently when you have such women around you. The other point, which again Shushma also touched upon, is the work-life balance concerns that any woman faces. And today, in the post-COVID situation, I come from the pharma industry where, incidentally, we didn't even get a single day's work from home. We are working from office on a daily basis. But we still have a few of our, folks, it's a hybrid model in Mumbai who are working from home. And I'm sure most of you will share this experience that it is far, far more difficult for a woman in India to work from home than for the male counterparts, because she being the primary caregiver, she being the primary person who puts the food on the table, children are not going to school, they are studying at home through e-learning, so she's the one who has to manage those children. I have heard most of women from various industries complain, saying that we just can't handle this, and maybe we were far better in offices, and I don't want to continue working from home, I'll leave my job. And when I say this, this is not just hearsay. There's a McKinsey study that was published just a week back in Times of India, that 1 in 4 in the corporate world, women today, plan to leave their jobs just because of this situation of forced working from home. Because everyone used to think, oh, it's fantastic, it's utopian idea to work from home. But today we realize how difficult it is. I incidentally had a lot of collaboration with the police force during this COVID times, because we were working from offices. So there was a daily interaction that I used to have with the senior police force. And they used to speak so much about domestic violence that had just shot up overnight when everybody started working from home and this COVID thing, impacted us. The pandemic came. I was so surprised with the various examples they used to give of very, very well-off people. I'm not speaking of the Juggi Jhopri. I'm speaking of people who are both working, highly evolved families, highly qualified families, but there was regular incidences of domestic violence that the police were reporting, saying it's very, very difficult when everybody is at home and the woman has to face the worth of maybe everybody, not only the male family members, but everyone else at home. Her expectations from her goes up so much that there is resulting in domestic violence. Then comes the whole issue of the pay parity, again touched by Shushma. So you'll be surprised to know that out of 153 countries that were surveyed, India ranks 112th in pay parity. So 34% is the figure that's 34% less is what a woman carries back home as compared to a male colleague. This also at times does not make the job, or doesn't make the career as attractive to a woman as it is to a male counterpart. Sometimes it's heard by society that it's okay, you just earn so much, so you might as well not, you might as well not go to work. It's fine, we'll manage the household just by one income. So this pay parity, which also exists in every possible field. We today read about Bollywood, we read about Hollywood, then how much of pay parity exists. Hello. Across
continue, please.
Across various industries. One more point on this whole retention issue is what I've experienced, and this, correct me if I'm wrong, I know there's a lot of very, very evolved and powerful women on this panel tonight, but I've seen myself and experienced this, that mostly when very attractive assignments and positions come in organizations, women are sidelined, not because mostly of the stereotyping that I spoke of, but as women, we don't speak up as much. Although the woman knows that she's good enough and she's maybe far better than another male counterpart for that role or that assignment, but be it social conditioning, be it, whatever you may call it, in general, maybe we are, as they say, from Venus and men are from Mars, so we are differently built, our DNA is different. Generally, women don't raise their hand. They don't say, yes, I can do that job. They don't come up to their managers and ask for a pay rise. They don't push back and say, why did you overlook me for that promotion? Why did you give it to the guy? But think of all our male colleagues. Nobody's going to take that down lying if they are sidelined. I'm sure they would just push their way through. Mostly, majority. They're not going to take it, just because they don't believe, obviously, that anybody else would be more deserving than them, and rightfully so. Everybody has a right to be ambitious, be it male or female. It's gender agnostic. Ambition just comes to any individual who's performing in an organization. So last but not the least, we were just discussing all these various societal conditions that all of us grow up in, all of us are exposed to. One of the positive things I would say today is the various role models that Dr. Upadhyay just shared. I think that's actually making a whole lot of difference to the new generation who's joining the workforce today. They are seeing these quadrant leaders, they are seeing these, the corner offices, CEO positions being taken by women, and a lot of industries like the financial services, the ITES, a lot of these industries actually paving the way for creating the right role model for young women to emulate, to get encouraged and inspired to join the workforce and stick around and not move out of the workforce the moment they face some family events. Because even if you see if you look at the government or if you look at the organizations, it's always maternity that concerns all of these bodies. So the government also feels maternity leave बढ़ा दो, women will stay back in workforce. Organizations feel maternity leave दे दो, women will stay back in workforce. If you just calculate between say 20 years of age or 22 years that a woman joins the workforce to say 58 or 60 years, maternity maybe just 2 years or 3 years of her entire career. It's not her entire period is just maternity. So just by throwing in a few extra months of maternity leave doesn't retain women in the workforce. Rather, I've seen these to be counterproductive. All these pressures that are coming from the government bodies by increasing maternity leave, by pushing through this creche rules, it's pushing back the medium-sized enterprises and the small-scale enterprises. They are not very eager to hire women. It's demotivating them to hire women because they say, oh my God, posh ke rules itne difficult hai. You have these various creche rules and maternity rules. Who's going to take so much of tamjam? Better not to hire women. And I've been hearing this so often. When you're in senior positions, they forget that you're speaking to another woman. They just think you're another senior person. And they say, let's not, So it's pretty common that that we get to hear mostly in smaller organizations. Maybe the kind of organization Shushma and me come from, it's not so much, but it's a real problem in medium and small scale industries today. They find it very difficult to hire and retain women because of these very strict rules, which at times maybe disables and enables women joining the workforce. So these were a few things that I wanted to bring to the table. Thanks to both Dr. Upadhyay and Shushma, most of this has already been covered. I'll be open to any questions, and thank you everybody for allowing me to speak on a subject that I'm very, very passionate about. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ravi ji. Actually, your this thing is like a concentrated drop of water. सागर में सागर भर दिया हिंदी में जो बोलते हैं ना. Thank you very much. See, I have given very less example that for young generation. When that's coordinator meet she said because she controlled the aircraft from down. It's rated F-16. But I think Wing Commander Verma is competent too. We had a lady director for Chandrayaan. We have lady president. So there are many examples. If you say, I was working in ARA and we had a lady CEO. She was also awarded Nari Shakti Puruskar last year. So many examples. And one of the same thing what Ms. Ravi has said, I was doing one program for gender equality because one auto company, they wanted to raise the number of women. And their director HR, regional director HR was from China. And China, they do not have that type of law what we have. China. So it was surprising for him that we have that type of law. And when I explained about POS, he was frightened. So let's not get into what Arnavi has said. It is only once in career. Career of 40 years, you will have all to give. When it comes to my wife, my daughter-in-law, I want 2 years leave. When it comes to my colleague, I don't want to give. That's not be there. I think thank you very much for both the panelists for explaining the concept very well. I think we have, and sorry, Dr. Yvonne, are you there or she has gone?
I think
Dr.
he is
Yvonne
disconnected.
Botras.
Yes, yes, she is from Egypt, joined my friend.
Okay,
Okay.
that's great.
So
Is she there?
No, she has
I think she
disconnected,
is,
I believe.
she will
So-
join, I think, because now she joined.
Any question answer? Please, you can either write on chat or you can ask. Switch on
You
your-
can open your video and audio start.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
can ask question.
Very. So now we have a webinar in Calcutta. Half of the crowd has gone there. Calcutta.
Hmm.
Rupesh Roy, if you are listening me,
We
How
have
can
Dr.
we
Anshul.
promote?
We have Professor Anshul Sharma from Mumbai. Are you there, Anshul ji?
Rupesh is
I
having
think-
one question, Mamaji. You can read it
yeah,
out.
the question from Rupesh Rai, I think for experts panels, if you can answer, I will just read out that question. He asked, how can we promote gender inclusive culture in this fast
Fast.
changing environment? The support, safety, and acceptance of females are still in doubt in most organizations. It may be due to policy on gender equality. Please answer. Thank you.
Anyone. Open to anyone.
So maybe I'll just put in a line and then Shushma can add. This is one question that if I put on the hat of a senior management from the company that I face on a regular basis, how to draw the line, how to balance the two out. When we have women in the workforce, they want to come to work, they want to stay back for late evening calls, they want to come on weekends and finish their assignments. So they don't really like these kind of sunset rule, like you can't work after 7:30, you need to have a male colleague in the office before you leave, you need to make sure a manager signs off
I think few of the guys have switch on their TVs or radio. Please switch off and mute yourself so that others don't get.
Now you can unmute yourself, Arnavi. Arnavi, you can unmute yourself.
I think
Sushma, you can also.
Yeah, so this is the balance that we need to bring into the system, wherein as an organization, while we provide all the support and safety parameters, we also give the freedom to women to come in at the time that they want and to work the way they want to. Otherwise, when it comes to the next promotions and comes to appraisals, they keep suffering because the male colleagues say, oh, we stay back late and we come on weekends and work. So why are you giving the lady in the team a promotion? That's something that makes us look like we are not an equal opportunity employer. It's a difficult balancing act from the senior management perspective of an organization. So Shush.
I totally agree with what Arnavi has just mentioned. See, culture is so vast. If you are talking about the gender equality culture, if you want to promote, it's most important if you're talking a culture in your company. From and benefit when your each level the people are participating in building that culture. If you want to build an inclusive culture, definitely your manager should understand. And some of the policies when you're making, it should not only the HR should make a policy, or the you can say the top level management is only involved in making policy. When you're making the policy, make sure that when you're making a policy for a woman in working in your workforce, please include them while making policy. I think that's how you'll able to understand what is their requirement. Definitely, you can take a final decision, but I think you should give them opportunity to build and give their perspective as well, because that is not happen, and that's why we see a lot of times. I feel that I should make a policy like that, okay, because other companies are following, or other maybe companies have these kind of policies. That's why I should also do it. Not necessarily that system or that policy will work in your working environment. So you need to understand your business, your culture of the company, and based on that, I think you should give a opportunity for the ladies or the women working in your workforce. bring them and include them when you're making any decisions or building a policy loop. Let some of the initiative led by them. I think that's how you're able to build some of the inclusiveness, what you're looking at to work with.
Rightly said. See, we had an academy in ARAI, and Cummins used to come because it was MTech in automotive technology. Cummins used to come, and they used to declare, because there's no criteria for girls. All girls are eligible irrespective of their percentage. They have a policy of 35% inclusion, and they have that type of policy. See, it is not only recruiting, retaining them, giving them an environment, what these two panelists have discussed, that is more important. We're not having policy, but policy implementation is more important for that. See, I also have a video which Ms. Arnavi has given me, but I have handed, okay, anyway, I will forward because now I have handed over to Wing Commander Verma. I think we are also approaching our time limit. So I must thank Chapter Authority, Chapter Chairperson, Ms. Seema, Wing Commander KK Verma ji for having me and both the panelists and giving us an opportunity to speak to so wonderful learned audience. Thank you very much. Keep continue such type of program. We will join and we'll also provide you resource person. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
sir.
very much.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much to everyone.
Thank
Annavi,
you.
Sushma ji, Dr. Yogesh,
Good night.
thank you so
Thank you so much, sir.
much.
Thank you very much.
Now, as a vote
Sir,
of thanks,
can
So have a
everybody
joy-
put their
it was
video on?
really
Can everybody put their video on? We can click one photograph.
yeah, join.
Bhai has also come now. At least I have at least 4-5 guys from Pune. I don't meet them Pune because of pandemic. I can see their faces here.
Yeah, please, everyone.
In the meantime, when video is going on, I think
Yes, sir.
I'll
You continue with your.
finalize with vote of thanks.
Yes.
It's a great privilege, basically, Dr. Upadhyay coming from Pune, and we are using the online resources and two experts, Susma Paul and Arnavi ji. Thank you very much for participating and enlightening the ISTD Noida chapter, but I think this is the All India chapter and All India organization, ISTD, what it stands for. And we are very thankful to all of you. We are thankful to those who participated, and I will mention few names basically to note their presence. Mr. Mukesh Jain from Delhi chapter, Wing Commander Prashant Singh, ex-secretary ISTD Noida chapter, Colonel Narendra Bist, he is available here. Thank you very much, sir, for your presence. Then we have Parag Kumar, and from student side, I'm happy to see Rupesh Roy, very active participant and a young participant. And there are many other students I will not mention, including Shivani Chawla and others. Thank you very much. Dr. Timira Shukla, she came and she was present during the talk, and it was nice. Dr. Aparna Sethi and Dr. V.K. Rastogi mentioned the few. And thank you to Mr. Tariq Kakru from JNK. I think again Dr. Yogesh Upadhyay friend. And then Professor Dr. Yvonne Watrous from Egypt. So it all became today not only Noida seminar, it is actually a global seminar. And I will mention about the start of pandemic when we have had lockdown and then subsequently moved to unlock, and we all know how our country basically reacted to under the leadership of present Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And before that, I remember when President of USA came and told us we are a developed nation, and not many Asian countries and other developing countries have this privilege when America comes and tell us the developed nation. And when we talk about the developed nation, I think today's talk, gender equality and inclusion, plays a very important role, and our experts have done a lot of justice to this. And this is the way we are going to sustain and maintain our developed status for the years to come. And that is the way we should basically address the issues, address the problems. Even what Arnavi ji talked about, work from home, it could be the blessings for many. It could be a problem for many organizations and individuals. I work with my wife and my daughter, whom I coach. Basically, she is an international level squash player, and I understand how important the complete situation is when we have to deal with either for my wife when she has to work from home, or when my daughter sports, which was supposed to be internationally organized, including one guy who has come from Egypt. Egypt is supposed to be a hub for squash, but today in pandemic, I mean, it's so difficult to move across India and play and show your professionalism. So in all these, gender equality play very important role, and we have to take lot of wise decisions, current decisions, and important decisions. As Dr. Yogesh Upadhyay said about, we have to do a lot of learning and unlearning. I think, I don't know if he has quoted, it is from my book, Phone on Unlearning. And I wish all of you should be ready to do a lot of unlearning as well as learning so that we can move ahead in life. Thank you to all of you, and all of you who are still there to for this conference and seminar. Yes, lastly,
sir.
I request Seemaji to, if you want to say anything.
Sir, before Seema comes, I treat myself host also.
Yeah,
You are-
please, you
We
are.
have few more name
you are-
also. Mr. Ashok Saxena joining from Kona. Professor
Yeah, I just saw him, and but because the time
Yeah,
was
you saw
अंशुल
him
शर्मा
and
नहीं अभी ना बिकॉज हमारा छोटा परिवार सुखी परिवार है इसीलिए मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ अंशुल शर्मा फ्रॉम मुंबई and we have Dr.
Saxena ji,
Charu
welcome.
Virajda. See, I will because students are there. I will just share sir 30 seconds.
Yeah.
When
please.
Navi was doing her diploma in ISTD, she was heading HR of Kimberly Clark. I remember because that is also very vibrant organization, very really remarkable. And I used to see you to actually she did her project before 1.5 year, completed on time, being heading HR also. And I have not seen such a student. People are not even married also, they don't find time. Maybe they will be busy in other job, but she was so brilliant in 1.5 years she submitted her project. I think this is a learning for our students also, very not from our seniors, from our colleague, let the noble idea come from all sides.
Yeah. That's absolutely true. Ms. Charu Birjadar ji, you want to say something, please? आप बोलिए.
Seminar was fantastic.
Thank you.
Seminar was fantastic.
Thank you so much for joining, Charuji.
Yes, sir. Yes, madam.
Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
joining. So lovely to have you all here back in the platform.
Dr. Virajda was director of one of the B school in Pune. Now she is principal of one commerce college.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Now I
Pune.
think we should close. And
Yes, sir, we can close. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
we
Yes,
wait
sir.
for
Thank you,
next
sir.
Thank you.
seminar and conference, and we will wait for all of you to joining back again. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Vikamada Verma. Thank you, Upadhyay. Thank you, Sushma ji. One line I will add in the end actually, because what the Sushma has said, it was so much clicking. If we want the transformation, the society, gender equality will start from home. So we have got a lot of responsibility on our shoulder. It is not about the gender equality at workplace only. So we are working women, but we are also so much responsibility on shoulders. On this note, only I'll be such a wonderful women are in the panel.
Yeah,
on the,
thank you, women in the panel. Thank you.
yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Men in
Babaji,
minority. Now
Babaji,
only
women are always